Hi, I'm Cindy Heitman, Deputy Superintendent here in School District 57, and with me I have one of our students.
Hi Cindy, I'm Emma Sirwa from College Heights. I'm going into grade 8 this year, and I have a few questions about what school will look like with the new pandemic.
Absolutely.
So my first question is, what happens if you feel sick at school?
Important question. So when you feel sick at school, it's really important that we make sure we go home. So if you become sick at school, we're going to ask you to tell an adult. You will then be located in the school. We have rooms that are being created in every school that is sort of a safe, comfortable, private room where you can wait for somebody to come and get you. We'll ask you to put on a mask, and in the time that you're waiting, you'll just stay in that space. You'll be cared for. There'll be an adult, may not be in the room with you, but who will be close by, and we'll ask that you go home. If you are a student who can drive, the same thing will happen. We'll make a call home to let your family know that you've become ill and that you are on your way home.
Perfect, thank you. And the next question is, what if I have a sibling or parent that is sick? Do I still come to school even if they have mild symptoms?
Yes, if you do not have any symptoms. So if you live in a home and somebody in your family becomes ill, if you don't have any symptoms, you can still come to school.
Perfect, thank you. And my last question is, what happens if students don't abide by the social distancing / mask rules?
Yeah, that's going to be one of our challenges. We have to teach how to physical distance, and we're going to have to teach about when you need to wear a mask. Just like we need to teach math and we need to teach reading, we're going to have to teach that. So if you're in a space and you're in school and you acknowledge that somebody's not physically distancing, there's some strategies that you can use to remind them, and you can say, hey, you're too close, I need you to step back, you're in my bubble, you're in my space. So that's one thing that you can do as somebody who's in the building. Another strategy we'll have lots of visual reminders up for folks to remember that it's their responsibility and it's everyone's responsibility to do their part to keep everybody safe. Wearing masks sometimes isn't very comfortable, and it can be hard, and it's going to take some time for us to get used to, but we'll continue to teach, reinforce. Now if it's intentional and we have a situation where somebody just does not want to follow those rules, we'll follow our regular systems that we have in our schools for when students aren't meeting our expectations.
Perfect, thank you very much, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lee Karpenko, Assistant Superintendent at School District 57, and today I have one of our high school students from DSAC.
Hi, I'm Rachel from DB Todd Secondary, and I have a couple questions for you today. First, it's a big one. How will return to school sports look?
That's a difficult one to answer, as many students had their seasons canceled and many of the sports haven't started up yet. We just received notification from BC School Sports, which governs sports in School District 57 and around the province, that we're allowed to start practicing within our school. So individual school teams may be starting up. They're not allowed any inter-school games or regional games at this time, but there will be activities or sports teams starting up in the fall. In addition to that, within your cohort or within your learning group, you'll be able to have physical education, and we're hearing from some schools that they may be starting some intramurals within their learning groups.
Great, thank you. And second, will there be options for online school?
So right now, we're in September, we're starting stage 2, and stage 2 in Prince George has 100% of the students at school 100% of the time. So if you or your family decided that, you know what, I really don't want to go to school, please let your school know that, so that we can help facilitate, if you're interested, going into a distance learning environment. That would be separate from the school that you currently attend. If our province goes into stage 3, that would be a blended model of having in-class instruction and at-home instruction. So right now at this time there's no online while you're going to school. It would be either at school or at distance learning.
And lastly, will students be able to ask about their scheduling and communicate with their counselors about it?
Once again, a very, very good question, especially with secondary students not having seen their timetables or schedules yet this year. What principals are doing right now is they're trying to use that quarter system to be able to have students get some of the courses that they need right off the bat. So what we're asking is students will be in their first quarter with no changes, and then counselors will be working with students in quarters 2, 3, and 4 to adjust the schedules to be able to meet graduation or meet their interests that they would be wanting to take. We know it's very difficult for students and families to not see their timetables and not be able to change their courses around, but we want to make sure that everyone is safe, and we want to make sure that everyone keeps that physical distancing to start with. And so we're going to ask students to stay in their first learning group, in their first learning courses, until the end of the first quarter, and we'll make adjustments in that first 10 weeks.
Great, thank you, Lee.
You're welcome.
I'd really like to thank the students that joined us today from DSAC and for bringing the questions forward from themselves and their peers in their schools and sharing the concerns that they had on their mind so that we could speak to that a little bit. Hopefully we'll hear some other questions and be able to maybe sit down again and have further conversation so that all students and parents can have an understanding of what they'll be heading into for September, because really what we want to do is make our students and our families feel as comfortable as possible sending their children back to our classrooms in September, knowing that we are doing the very best we can to keep them safe, to keep them healthy, and to keep them learning in the best way that they can. Thanks for joining us.